You're building the empire.
And we'll help you protect it.
Because even the most powerful women
still have trust issues.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Trust Issues. I am one of your hosts, Erica Hall with Erica Hall Wealth Advisors, and I'm here with my girl.
Yes, my girl. I am Urenia Ricks-Johnson with Ricks & Associates, PLLC.
Yes.
And I'm so glad to be here. And we're welcoming you to Trust Issues, where money meets mindset.
Oh, yeah, and power meets protection, and legal meets legacy.
Yes.
That's what we're all about. We're about, you spend all this time building your empire. We want to show you how to protect it. So this isn't direct, customized advice that you can take to, and apply to your life without working with someone directly. So we want to give that disclosure.
Yes,
right,
and this is legal information. And the reason why I have to say that even more today is because I'm so glad that our guest is here today.
Yes, we're moving into the guest zone.
We are. We're moving into our trust circle. And I'm so excited because this guest, I've been working with her for a long time. We've been law partners for a minute now. I've been married for 13 years, so maybe 11.
Oh, she got to do the math.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
11 years?
Wow.
Yes. It don't feel
11
like
years, yeah. So I'm going to, without further ado, introduce our guest today, who is a expert in her field, and she's a fellow attorney. She's a fellow legal professional.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And her name is Lori Waddles. Lori, welcome.
Hey, Lori.
Hey, hi. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
We're so excited that you're here. So I get to share this with you because we share a whole lot on a daily basis.
We do.
So I'm glad that you have come to be a part of this podcast, and it's amazing because what I have been able to develop with you and I have developed with Erica has been like the partnership of passing on information and being able to refer clients for that next step or starting a step, and we play off of each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we have done for this last 11 years. And then with Erica, we've been doing that over these past, 2 years? At least 2 years, yes.
Yeah. And
So
it
so
just,
excited.
it's great. It grows you exponentially.
It does. It does.
In ways that, you can't put a number on because you become an extension. It's like how my daughter shops in my closet. We wear the same size clothes and shoes.
Oh.
And so she has an
She has
expanded.
a field day.
Yes, she has an expanded wardrobe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She could come and do what she. But today we are going to one of the areas we have not covered. We've done a lot of episodes on money management. We've done on estate planning. We've done a lot of things. But one area we have not touched on is family law.
Oh, yes. Family law secrets. The secrets that we need to know. That stuff that's taboo to talk about, that why don't we want to talk about it? We need to know. Like, sharing the information can really take us so much further. And so today we're breaking the myths, we're spilling the truth, and giving you the tips that can literally change your life.
Yes, I'm so excited because, family law isn't just about, most time when people say family law, they think it's about divorce. So family law isn't just about divorce. It's about protecting your peace
That's good.
and your pockets.
Yeah.
Indeed.
It's about that. So we have an expert here today in family law. Lori Waddles has been practicing law for over 30 years.
Indeed.
That's what she said.
And she has been practicing in the area of family law. So Lori, tell us a little bit about what you have kind of gained over these past couple years. I know we've talked about, and I say couple, but that's been that time of just learning from the family law perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about what you feel that our viewers, our listeners need to know about family law.
Well, you know what? I was going to say that the advice that you need to get, you should start from the moment of separation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's from custody matters. That's from the division of your assets. That's from protecting your money, separating your money, personal items, separation, and really just mindset. Because what I was going to say was that I began as a family law attorney and was attracted to it because I have a degree in psychology and I've always been fascinated with human behavior.
Yes.
And really, my mother is from the Red Clay Hills of Louisiana. And I think from that, I have a bit of an ability to discern spirits.
Yeah.
And therefore, I can advise and be emotionally invested in what somebody is going through and not just a paper pusher when it comes to somebody's, family and something that is dear to their heart. I have more of a feel for being able to help them emotionally as well as legally.
Yeah, that's
Well,
good.
and that's great because a lot of times, like you said, it's not personable at all. It's just that people don't really kind of understand because when you're people talk about how divorce or that separation is almost like a death.
Yes, it is.
I
right?
can attest.
It
is definitely
you get
it is definitely like someone passed away.
Right. And you know what? The thing about it is I've been divorced.
You don't even want to look at the papers and the money and you can keep everything.
Yeah.
I just need me.
Listen, I'm going to tell you personally, it got to a place because although my second marriage, I've been married going on 30 years.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
But I was married before.
Okay.
For 5 years. And he kept wanting to go back to court and kept wanting to prolong stuff. And I said, just like you, I said, you know what? I'm good. You want to pay me 2 cents for the child support? We good. Because I was tired.
Yeah.
And I think emotionally, again, you communicate that to your partner after a long period of time and they're not hearing you.
Yeah.
And then you finally are like, you know what? I deserve to be happy.
Wow. That's you just really said something because the psychological place or the psychology of it all, but where a person is, I've heard it said that, a person can leave a relationship 7 years or 5 years emotionally, mentally before they physically leave.
Oh, absolutely.
Before the physical separation takes place. And you're really just thinking about your emotional well-being.
Yes.
You're trying to be whole. You're trying to be mentally okay. So that I'm glad that you brought out that perspective because we don't really think about that.
Well, and the thing about it is that's why it is important to get an attorney because you are enmeshed in the emotions of the situation and you need to have somebody who can separate and be objective and speak truth to you while you're going through that emotional, situation. And that's something that I think I add to the table. And again, we talked about earlier the fact that as you grow as a professional, you learn how better to serve your clients. And so I think the fact that I've been doing it for as long as I have, I have learned that.
Got some wisdom.
I can add that. Exactly.
Yeah.
You can definitely add that. So listeners and viewers, make sure you know your rights before you need them. That's the key thing. You know your rights before you need them. And you may not even know. And we've discovered that a lot of times, we say this all the time. This is like our thing when we say we can't do away with your bad facts.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
A lot of times,
wait, say that again.
we can't do away or we can't take away your bad facts.
Okay.
Which means that if your facts are just what they are. So from a lawyer's perspective, you come in with facts. You come in with things that are happening to you, about you, whatever's going on, right?
Yes.
Right.
But I think the misconception or the myth is that lawyers
we can fix
change the facts.
Yeah.
So if you tell me this A, B, and C happened, they think that lawyers can change it where it's only A, B. Right? But we can't change it. We can operate within the law to make sure that you're covered with A, B, and C.
Yeah.
But we can't change it to A, B.
Right.
And I think that's the misconception. So knowing your rights from the beginning before you get involved is very important because we can't change that. We can't change what happened. We can't change if you all have been married for a period of time. We can't change if you all have assets together. We can't change those things. We can advise you based on those facts, but we can't change it. And I think that that's a lot of times the misconception that we get that happens.
You know what? And I will say this, that, one of the things that I have learned to do with my clients is to actually meet them where they are.
Yeah,
and to let them know these are the pros, these are the cons, this is what's probably going to happen. And in other words, I can't make it better. I can't make your facts better, but I can tell you where you are. And there are, unfortunately, a lot of professionals that will try to blow smoke and be like, oh, you're going to be so victorious, when you might not be. And it's important to let your client know, these are your facts. They're not great, but we can work with that.
Wow. So I think what you're saying is so good to understand once you're in the thick of it, once you're building a life together, you're building assets together. And so this made me think about a conversation I had with one of my mentees recently, and going into a marriage, going into the relationship, and they were wondering about the importance of marriage counseling, or you're getting into a relationship. We talk about, the nuances of the relationship. Are there any things to consider when it comes to family law? Going into the marriage.
Right. Well, and to your point that family laws is not about divorce.
Yeah.
It's also about prenuptial agreements.
Ooh,
how about that?
We just heard about that.
And you need to be very sure.
Yeah.
These are my assets when we start. These are your assets when we start.
Yeah.
If we grow together, they will be our joint assets.
Yes.
But if we should break up, I get my stuff, you get your stuff, and it's good to have it contractually written down so that you know the lay of the land if something should happen and you guys aren't together anymore.
Yeah.
Have you found that those have been out of those contracts? How does the court look at it? How's your experience been with those type of agreements?
They're honored.
They're okay.
Yeah.
I mean, because you know
it's an
what?
agreement.
It's in black and white. And a part of our discussion today is going to be about documentation.
Yeah.
It's not about he say, she say. It's about what the papers say.
Right.
And then also, I know from a estate planning perspective, when you have those family trusts set up, you have the things set up, and you leave specific language in there to say this is family assets too.
Exactly.
Having those specific things that I want. Let's say the mother or the father, and they're setting up things for their grandchildren, and if the next generation, God forbid, something happens to them, that they don't necessarily may not want it to go to the spouse. They may want it to go direct, stay in trust, and go to their grandchildren. But once again, that's about the documentation. That's about having those conversations and talking about, is this family, family A's assets,
right?
Yeah, or do you mind? Does the families commingle together where it doesn't matter? I love my daughter-in-law. I love my son-in-law.
Right.
Some people it doesn't matter, but if it does matter, you want to make sure that it does get documented.
And that your intention is clear.
Yes.
How about that? Because the court, as we've talked about, if there's no intention, then everybody has to be notified about all of these assets.
Yeah.
And that might not be what you wanted, but if you didn't write it down, then the judge has to decide it, and the judge has to clarify what was unclear.
What about children? So prior to the marriage, there are no children. You may come in with some assets, and I think I'm thinking, I'm not an attorney, so I can have this from a woman's perspective. We built a life together. Right. There may have been some premarital assets, but now I've given you children. Now we have children. Now we have financial responsibilities, and if the marriage breaks down, how honored are those? I guess we just have a case right now with the football player and the woman that he has, the mother of his children.
Exactly.
Who they have children and they're not legally married, and she didn't want to sign the prenup, and so he called off the wedding.
Yep.
So how do children play into those prenuptial agreements or premarital assets and how you grow together through life?
Well, I think that it's important to advise whoever your client is about the prospect of what would happen if you have children. In other words, you have to be clear.
Yeah.
And then again, once children become a part of the equation, then we need to go back and we need to revise. Or we need to create new documents.
Yes.
As new things come into the picture, again, if it's not in writing, then, there's going to be questions and you're going to leave it up to a judge to make that decision. And it's just like, this is your personal business. Why would you want a stranger to make that decision for you? So again, it's a matter of either anticipating it in the original document, revising the document, or creating a new document.
Yeah. I like that.
Revise, create, always update. That's always my thing when in my practice, and it goes with family law, it goes with estate planning, it goes update. When those things happen in life, update. Now I'm going to shift a little bit because one of the reasons why I don't particularly like practicing in family law is because of the topic we're going to talk about now. Kids being used as leverage.
Oh, yeah.
Children being used, kids should never be used as messengers, bargaining chips, or emotional shields. I spent a period of time working for the UAW Legal Services, and at that time, if you know anything about the UAW Legal Services, you have to practice in whatever area they throw at you.
Exactly.
Right?
Okay.
So, and around Christmas time, my voicemail used to always be filled up because we always had Christmas and all that time off.
Okay.
But it used to always be filled up with people calling me saying they dropped the kids off 2 hours late. I need you to file a motion, emergency motion. I need you to file an emergency stay, and they didn't know what the legal terms was. A stay of them dropping off the kids. Because they were supposed to drop them off at A site. They dropped them off at B site. They called me 30 minutes before. So those things I learned early on.
Wow.
This is not for me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
So from that standpoint, but it is for Lori. So
it is.
How do you handle or advise or try to help individuals through those things where a lot of times it's emotionally involved when you've had a child with someone and you're still attached and you feel like your leverage or whatever you're doing, you need to do something that's going to still help you to be attached to that person or something like that. What would you advise someone on how to kind of navigate through those things?
You know what?
That sounds like the psychologist coming out.
Well, and I was going to say, let me just make a general blanket statement. Including children in grown folks' business is a mistake. Now, in terms of dealing with parents that are just going to want to bicker, yeah, I have to have, a come to Jesus moment, if you will, with some of my clients. And just be like, what are you doing to your children? Let us think about, and we have in family law a concept called what is in the best interest of children.
Okay.
And there are 12 best interest factors.
Okay.
And a lot of it includes the relationship or the likelihood that one parent is going to act negatively or one parent is going to poison the child against another parent. All of those things are considered to be negative things against that particular parent. And so, I have to put on my psychologist hat at that point and just be like, hold the phone. Let's look at the kids. What is this doing to your son? What is this doing to your daughter?
Yeah.
If you all need to have an exchange point that has nothing to do with each other's homes, a police station, a grocery store, a restaurant, whatever we need to do. If you need to communicate and they have apps where you can communicate with the other person, where you don't have to talk to them, there are all kind of safeguards that can come to play to help you with this situation. But the bottom line is sometimes you have to grab your client and just be like, I'm going to need you to grow up. And again, I was texting with a client back and forth today. I said, I am not the kind of attorney that's just going to blow smoke and let you run roughshod because you want the law to be this way or that way. I'm going to give you the bottom line.
That's good.
And this is a case that is not going to get past the judge. Parents who, he can't see his kids. No. Family law judges are trained that both parents are able and should have a relationship with their kids, whether you like them or not. Even in cases where there's domestic violence between the two parties, if there's not abuse toward the kids, that parent can see that child.
Oh, wow.
And it's just like, I'm going to need you to gird your loins and get it together because that's that child's father or that's that child's mother.
Listen, that's why we can't be Googling information. We need to talk to the experts.
Exactly, because a lot of times people think that they can do that, or they think that it's okay, or if they're in a situation where that's happening, they need to know about those best interest factors that the court looks at. Because a lot of times we don't know.
Yep.
And it's lack of, that lack of knowledge and lack of understanding. So thank you for clarifying that.
I love how you just put it in such a professional way, the way you laid it out. But for most of us, we call it baby mama drama.
Yeah.
Right.
That's my baby daddy.
And I don't like him.
And you can't see these kids.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And what you just mentioned is the mindset of a lot of young people who have children, especially if it's out of wedlock, and we think that the mother is the primary custodian and she has all the say-so. Also, that this is how I get to, if they're not giving me the money that I think that they're supposed to give me to pay for this and to pay for that, then I can use this as you said, as leverage to get back at them. But I've seen it time and time again, and it's just a natural. It's like a natural thing that happens, and we think it's okay.
Yeah, and I think that it's such an emotional part of it because a lot of times it's people thinking about the relationship, thinking about that person, and like you mentioned, they're not thinking about that child,
the children.
And I think that was what's emotional to me because I feel like a lot of times the children are the ones that are getting the worst part of this because of parents that can't see past each other.
Yep. And their relationship.
Yes.
They're not thinking
or lack
about
thereof.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Right. And a lot of times it's based on the lack thereof and just try to get past that point. So, know that your child is not evidence. Stop dragging them into your case.
Right.
So knowing you were coming on, I had a couple of cases that some folks submitted to me.
Oh, my.
And I just want to share one of them. And so one of them is this young man. He was dating a young lady. I've been dating this young lady, but the relationship ended and I pretty much blocked her, didn't want her to call me. Then she took out a restraining order on me so that when she said, then she sent me a text message saying that she was pregnant and that she was going to put me on child support. What kind of rights would a person who finds himself in that situation, what kind of rights would they have, mom or the young man?
Well, in terms of the young man, her saying that that's his baby, that's not good enough. He's going to have to get a DNA test. And if the DNA test comes out 99.9% that he is the father, then indeed he's going to have to get on child support. He's going to have to submit his income. She's going to have to submit her income. They're going to have to decide how many overnights each parent is going to have with the child. You put it into the child support calculator, and it spits out a number. Yeah, it's not. In other words, I tell people this all the time. It's not personal. It's not, I need $1,000. No. I'm going to need you to give me those mathematical figures, and I'm going to need you to figure out where the baby's going to be overnights and out of 365 days. And then the system is going to spit out a number, and that's what it's going to be. But first of all, you have to prove that I'm the dad.
Yeah. So what kind of advice would you, or I know we're not giving specific legal advice for this case, but if it sounds like there's leverage already being put into place, so you can't call me, you can't access me to find out if this is your child. I put out a restraining order on you so that you can't even text me, you can't contact my family, and you're just gonna have to wait until the courts contact you with a child support case.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I think that in terms of the DNA test, first of all, that's a court order.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And they will be served with the information of where to go and where to be and where to, drop whatever. I'm not sure what the particulars are in terms of how they do DNA testing.
Yes.
I think it's by blood.
Yeah, I think it's
and yeah, you will be served with a legal document saying you must report to this place and have that done. Now, in terms of the communication piece, again, there are, methods in place where if you don't want to talk to me, then we go on this app and we can talk about our child. And that's all that we can talk about.
Yes.
We ain't talking about nothing personal.
Yes.
We're just talking about the baby.
Wow.
Where you are, where you going to drop the baby off, if the baby got sick. In other words, and there has to be some kind of custody and parenting time, again, legal documented order from the court, which outlines exactly what everybody's rights are. We ain't got to be friends.
Yes.
We ain't got to talk.
Yes.
But what we have to do is we have to follow what the court has set out in terms of our relationship as it relates to that child.
Documentation is protection.
It is.
Okay.
It is. That's why the internet is not your attorney.
Yes.
Right?
That's right.
That's why the internet is not your attorney.
And word on the street is not the right word.
It's not.
And the way somebody else's family did it.
Right.
Or if somebody cousin and girlfriend. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
This is what happened with
this is
them,
good.
and they don't understand they were a different set of facts, different set of circumstances,
Right.
altogether different, and you can't expect their outcome because you have different facts.
That is correct.
So we just hear those things and we just say, okay, well, this is what I'm assuming that's going to happen. So it's very important that you seek out the right advice, the trusted advice. That's the reason why we're expanding and having our circle that we have of trusted. I always refer my family law clients to Lori because I want them to understand the importance of having someone with her experience, her knowledge, and just to dispel some myths because a lot of times people just need to know the truth.
Yep.
Yes. So thank you so much for being in the trust circle.
Yeah.
You know what? Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Yes, this is great. This is great. I'm so glad that that we're here. But Lori, before we go, I just want you to just share some things about family law. If you were to leave some things for our listeners to understand about family law, what it is, what is not, just give some general information that we can take and then we can let people know where they can find you at.
Okay. Well, just generally, in the case of anything that involves your family, whether or not it is custody matter, a parenting time matter, a support matter, a divorce matter, in all of that, take a deep breath, okay? And think about your future, think about your child's future, think about that other person as a human being, and then seek the advice of an attorney. Should something go awry, or even prior to something going awry in terms of the prenuptial case, seek legal advice.
Yes.
Again, and it doesn't have to be frightening. It doesn't have to be dire, but just so that you are aware of what your parameters are.
Yeah.
Sometimes just have a consultation.
Yeah.
And again, don't be afraid of it. And don't allow it to think that, well, if I have a prenuptial, then that means that there's no love there. No, that just means that you are protecting yourself and the other person from an eventuality.
Yeah.
And, I am
like that.
available to advise in that capacity. I am of counsel and partner with Urenia Ricks-Johnson at Ricks & Associates.
Yes.
Come see me.
Yes.
I will.
Yes, it's
I
so
will.
important.
And I can think of so many people who have shared some things recently in recent conversations, recent client meetings that I've had that need to talk to you. They need to talk to you because it sounds like knowing your rights, is great protection. And it helps you to make some sound decisions that are just they're not emotional.
Exactly.
Decisions, emotionally based decisions. Well, this is great. This is great. We definitely want to let you all know that we take questions, we take comments.
Yes.
So when we have these experts on the show, we can share your questions because we give the disclosure. This isn't legal advice. This isn't financial advice. But we're just telling you what we know.
Yes. We're just giving in general information. So we hope that you've gained some knowledge. If you have experienced this, or you're thinking about entering into a relationship, or you're having some things that are happening in your relationship, make sure you seek trusted advice. And we have a trusted advisor that we work with, that we recommend, which is attorney Lori Waddles. If you have any type of family law
or
issue,
you're trying to get out of a relationship,
or anything that you feel that you need to consult an attorney for, just know, like you said, it's at every stage, beginning, middle part, or anytime you think that something may go awry, is make sure that you seek that trusted advice. And we have someone that will give you no fluff, but that also cares.
The real deal.
Absolutely.
Yes. So.
She said, I'm going to meet you where you are, and I'm going to consider your state of mind, your mental and your emotional well-being. I love that we don't have to be emotionally, or we don't have to be trapped somewhere that we don't want to be.
Yeah.
And I think that what you shared today will give us that freedom. So I hope, and I know this is going to help somebody. So thank you so much, Attorney Lori Waddles.
It's been my pleasure.
Yes. Please come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
you
right.
got to come back and talk to us again. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So we are signing off. This is Urenia Ricks-Johnson.
And Erica Hall. The least you could do is pay us attention.
Yes.
So like, share, subscribe this episode, and watch Trust Issues. Every episode will enrich your life.